Hey guys, I am so thankful that you guys are taking some time out of your busy schedule, out of your busy week to watch this video. We are so thankful for who you guys are and what you guys are doing. I can't express to you enough just the passion and the faithfulness that you guys have leading these kids every week in and week out in small groups. So thank you for what you do. We are closing up on our final chapter of Lead Small, which is awesome. It's been a great book, and I know that a lot of you have appreciated it. I know I've appreciated it walking through it and just really learning a ton about how to be not only better leaders, but also leading ourselves well and learning how to be present when we're there on the weekends and making sure that we prepare and also help like the kids as they develop their faith foundation, helping them wrestle with and discover who God is and allowing them to have time and space to do that. So in the last chapter of Lead Small, we have chapter 5, I'm going to grab my book, so Lead Small, chapter 5, we have Move Them Out. And one of the great things about this chapter is it talks about not only, we've got to be there in our small group, but not only do we have to partner with parents and to be there consistently and help them make their faith personal, we also have to move them out. And I think sometimes we think, well, what do you mean move them out? They're already going to move out. But like, how do we make their faith real outside of your small group on Sunday morning? How do we make them be the church? Like, how do we allow them and teach them what it means to serve in church and to serve outside of church? What does it mean to live their faith outside? Because 90%, if not like 99.9% of our faith is lived outside of church. It doesn't happen inside of church. So how do we move them out? And then also, how do we equip them and partner them with people who are faith influencers in their life? Like we've talked about and we've mentioned over and over again, it takes about 5 non-parental faith influencers in a kid's life for their faith foundation to be strong and to build a foundation so that when they get out of high school that they are still loving Jesus and still discovering who he is and really wrestling with that. And so you were one of those 5, but how can we partner and equip them with other people who are going to invest in them later? Because you're not going to be there forever. I'm not going to be there forever. So how do we partner and strategically place awesome people into the lives of our few, which is our small group? So when you focus on the bigger story of their lives, not only just what happens on Sunday morning, but when you understand, like, not only they have parents, they have school, they have lives, they have church, they have sports, they have, their neighborhood. What happens inside of your circle or in your small group on a Sunday morning is measured by what they do outside of their circle. So really what our goal is to move them out. So we need to move them out, we need to move them to be the church, and we need to move them onto what's next. We have, as you know, we have Crosswalk Kids, and then we have Uprising, and then after Uprising we've got, Big Church, and they're moving on to college and greater things. And so how do we strategically build the bridge so that every time that they make a transition, that it's a good thing, and that they're not falling through the cracks? How do we do that, and how do we do that well? Well, that's what we're going to talk about a little bit today. Moving them to someone else, like I talked about earlier, it's a growing number of studies are showing that it takes at least 5 adult faith influencers to invest in the life of one kid for them to have a solid faith foundation. So who are you connecting them with? There's examples of, like, what if there was a kid in your group that wants to be a firefighter? Do you know any firefighters? How can you connect them so that they can learn? Or maybe they want to be a worship leader. Like, how could you connect them, one, to either the worship leader at your location, or how do you help them lead worship at your location? Like, how do you empower them? Like, not only that, like making them feel significant in that, but like also moving them to people that are faith influencers. I had a girl once who wanted to be a journalist, and so one of the things that I knew of is, like, I knew a great Christian gal who was a journalist here in DC, and so we took a date and went and followed up, and she shadowed this news reporter, and it was awesome. Like, it was just a cool way for her to catch a glimpse of someone who loves Jesus living out their faith as a news reporter. So how can we move them to someone else? If you are leading a group that is 4th and 5th graders, like, how are you finding ways to partner them with their Uprising leader? And that's something that we can talk about and we're going to work on, and building the bridge so that when they move out of Crosswalk Kids, they're moving into Uprising and it's a seamless transition. How do we do that, and how do we move on to moving them to someone else well? The other thing is we need to move them to be the church. Sunday morning is not church. Is not all that the church is. The church is something that is greater. It is serving. It is reaching out to the poor. It's like we did in our mission series. It's ACT. It's acting like Jesus, assisting the poor, caring for the sick, and transforming through reconciliation. We have this great opportunity to help empower kids and their families. So how do we move them to be the church? As your small group, how are you helping them think through how they're serving the poor or caring for the sick? How are you as your small group doing that, and how can you help them brainstorm and think through that? The other thing is, how do they serve in the church? Are they getting a bug or desire to serve God's people? And like you were serving the church, we want them to learn and understand and find and discover a love for God's church and serving that. So whether it's helping, having them help out with worship, or whether it's having them help, prepare for the small group activity, or whatever it is, I guess we underestimate a lot of times the importance and the value of making a kid feel significant by his or her ability to serve. And that's one of the things that stuck out to me in this chapter. Was it says we all want to feel significant. Isn't that true? We all want to feel significant, but kids especially want to feel significant. They want to prove that they can do something and do it well. And so we got to give them the opportunity. A lot of times the things that they're given at home is to clean up the bedroom or to load the dishwasher, but how at the church can we give them this significance that makes them feel important? Especially thinking through kids that are there every week that are pastors' kids or leaders' kids or whatever. How can we engage them so that they love coming to church so much? Whether it's, helping with the technology up in the, with the laptop, having them do the worship or having them do the video. How can we help engage them so they feel that ownership and feel that significance? And that's one way that we can move them out to be the church. A child will never feel significant until you give them something significant to do. And how can you do that? This week or on your week that you're teaching or you're leading your small group, how can you make them feel significant? What an incredible opportunity we have as leaders to do that and to really develop and invest in the kids of Crosswalk Kids. Just to kind of recap from beginning of Lead Small to now, your few are not problems to be solved. They want to be loved and they need to be loved. We are not experts, but all we know is we have the love of Jesus in our lives and we want to pass that on. And that's what you guys get to do. You get to be the hands and feet of Jesus. And I would encourage you, don't try and figure out ways to solve their classroom, the classroom management. That's craziness. But how can we love them? And how can they walk away every Sunday feeling loved by you? When you love them, you will connect by showing up predictably, mentally, and randomly, like we talked about in chapter 1. When you love them, you will naturally create a safe place for them to clarify their faith. When you love them, you will partner with their parents, love them so that they can have an everyday faith. When you love them, you will inspire them through your example. And when you love them, you will engage their faith outside of the circle of a small group. Guys, I just don't know. I just don't know how to share it accurately and to give you put into words. But we are just so excited. And just if you can even think of a way that you can help move your kids out or prepare them for the next step. There's always a transition. There's always, whether it's school finishing and summer break or all those different things that they have coming up. How can we be intentional to move them out and to be the church? One of the ways that we are doing that with Crosswalk Kids is we have got a couple of things. We've got Promotion Sunday, and like I was mentioning earlier, I made reference to, we have Promotion Sunday where the 5th graders will be promoting out of Crosswalk Kids. So June 9th is coming up, and that is their last Sunday in Crosswalk Kids. So if you are a small group leader or a 4th or 5th grade kid, how can you celebrate them? How can you encourage them? How can you make them feel special or significant? The other way is, how can you move them on to someone else? Is that finding out who the uprising leader is or where they live? How do we connect them to? I can give you that information and I'm planning to work on that, but how can we connect them so that there is no falling through the cracks, so that we don't lose one child or one student? So not only does Promotion Sunday happen on June 9th, but June 9th that evening we have a Family Fun Spectacular, which is at Haynes Point Park, and it is going to be an awesome time, and we want to invite you so that you can come and meet the kids' parents, invite the kids, make sure your small group shows up in force with their parents, because basically it's a time for the families and kids to come together, and our leaders, people like you, to just have fun and to really celebrate what this year has been, to celebrate what's in store, and really just to partner together and to have a lot of fun, because I think when there's fun and laughter, there's relationship. And when there's relationship, there's the opportunity to pass on your faith, and I think that's so important. The other thing, too, just to be mindful of is May 19th, we have the Dad and Dudes Nerf Gun War Spectacular, and it's going to be awesome. And so that's May 19th. It's at Bluemont Park, and we'll give you more information as the time comes. But if you guys can make sure that all the boys in your small group are pumped about it and are bringing their dads and so excited, because that is just an incredible opportunity that we have to have the dads and the dudes to come together, to have a ton of fun, but to be intentional about the discipleship opportunities that presents. We have got some awesome things in store. It's going to be really great. So again, May 19th, don't forget, they need to pre-register. But again, we'll give you all that information and the links where they can go there, and we'll give you the postcards and all the goods that happen with that. But just know we have two major things coming up, and we're so excited about that. Just to recap, it's Dads and Dudes May 19th, and then it's June 9th, Promotion Sunday and Family Fun Spectacular. We love you so much, and I am so excited for the summer and all that brings. But let me pray with you, and then we will finish up tonight. God, I thank you so much for today. Lord, I thank you for the opportunity that we have to be here and to serve and to invest and to love in the kids that you've placed in our circle of influence. God, I just pray that you will help us to be intentional, help us to be good stewards of the relationships, help us to love well, help us to just have insight into these kids' lives. Lord, help us to see the bigger story of the lives that they are a part. God, help us to pass on a love for you. Lord, I pray that they will experience you in a new way. We love you so much. We thank you for who you are and what you've done in our lives. And God, I just pray that you will do a miraculous work in these kids' lives, and may you be glorified in all that we say and do. We love you. In Jesus' name, amen.